Hello, hi. The most important thing to a person who tries to learn a foreign language is to speak the target language just like its native people are speaking. Being a non-native speaker of English, for me, speaking English just like the native people are speaking with the correct accent or native-like pronunciation is very, very important. So if you people are looking for how to attain a kind of native proficiency, this is the video for you. Here I am going to give you some tips that I found it was very much useful for me, and I think it will be useful for you as well. Tip number 1. Focus on pronunciation from the very beginning. We people have a wrong way of learning a particular language, especially when we are starting to learn a foreign language. We people are completely busy by grabbing more vocabulary or by hearting more words in the target language, and we'll be completely relegating the pronunciation side into the background, and we may think that someday or somehow I will come back, I will refine my pronunciation. This is a short-sighted approach for many reasons. Then we will start learn some particular pronunciation in its wrong way, and it becomes automatic for us. The problem is that pronunciation is also just like any other kind of acting or doing. If you have mastered doing it in a wrong way, you cannot change it in a very easier way. For example, suppose you have learned to drive without fastening your seat belt, or you have learned driving putting your arms or hands on a particular direction, and it became automatic for you. Or after a while, when you are caught by a police, you are forced to fasten the seat belt. When you try to fasten the seat belt, at first it will be very much difficult for you, and you will have a kind of uncomfortable feeling when you try to do that. So I do recommend focus on pronunciation from the very beginning. And if you think that one day, after a while, after getting some vocabulary, I will learn my pronunciation, I think you are just like the poet of Road Not Taken. I'm damn sure you know that character who stands across two ways and who bends and stretches on both the ways, looking on to the ends, and he selects the second one and leaving the first one aside, thinking that one day he will be coming back and he will take the first one. At the moment he knows that, or at that point of time he knows that a returning or a coming back is impossible. So if you people think that after a while or after grabbing some vocabulary I will rectify my pronunciation, or I will fix all my issues with my accent, that is impossible, and it will be very much difficult for you if the pronunciation has become automatic for you. So I do recommend focus on pronunciation from the very beginning. Tip number 2. Learn intonation first, then pronunciation. You might be wondering, why do I recommend intonation first? Nowadays, we people teach phonemes first. Then we teach our learners the subsequent speech sounds, and we put together the phonemes to make the pronunciation of a word, and we put together different words and we form it as a sentence. This is what's going on right over here, right over now. And I do suggest you may learn phonemes first, the smallest distinctive speech sound, and instead of putting together the phonemes and making a word, first you may learn the English intonation, then you may put together the phonemes or the smallest distinctive sounds together to make a word, and then form a sentence. Now, what do I recommend is that before joining or before putting together the words and making a sentence, a learner should be capable or he should be familiar with English intonation. So, once when I was walking through the corridor of my school, a girl of ninth grade, came to me and she asked, "Time water?" She asked, "Time water?" I really appreciated her because she has obeyed the rule of the school, that is maintaining the campus language for communication. I appreciated her, but on a later stage, I thought she has used time water instead of asking what's time. Time water, that is a kind of Malayalam structure and Malayalam intonation. The kind of regional interference comes to her speaking style and it becomes her nature. So first we should teach them English intonation, then move down, then we have to put together the words to make a complete sentence and utter all the sentences in its proper intonation. Let's move on to tip number 3. Listen and read all the texts. We have been reading so many books or materials, English materials, and we may feel that just by reading we will get all-round development in our English. Of course not. You may get so many vocabulary. So I do suggest, other than reading a text, you may read and listen on your mobile phone or computer screen. Take the printout of it, and audio versions are available, I think, online. So many audiobooks are there, so many platforms are there where we will get audio materials and find out the correct audio material and listen and read all the texts. If you try, there will be a big change in terms of your pronunciation. Then let's move on to the next tip. Tip number 4, I do suggest practice pronunciation by reading aloud. So I do, instead of reading, looking onto the book, just by moving your lips, read aloud and make it a habit. Once when you hear your own voice, you may feel some errors in your pronunciation, and you can rectify the issues at the moment itself. That's one of the wonderful ways. Read the text aloud. Another tip that I would like to recommend is that read and record. Read and record. That's a wonderful tool to improve the level of your pronunciation. Especially if you record your reading video, that will be great. Then you can rectify all the lip movement issues and all kinds of pronunciation issues, etc. And at least if you record your voice and if you play it again, if you listen it again, you can fix almost all the issues or almost all the errors with your pronunciation. So these are my 5 simple tips to attain a kind of native proficiency in terms of accent and pronunciation. Let me have a quick recap. Number 1, focus on pronunciation from the very beginning. Number 2, learn intonation first, then pronunciation. Number 3, listen and read all the texts. Number 4, practice pronunciation by reading aloud. And the last one, read and record your video of reading and rectify the issues. That's all about pronunciation and accent. Thank you so much for watching.